Masani Meldi. Who is Masani Meldi? I'll go to get into that, and I'll also be telling you a lot about a lot of secrets about her. I'll be telling you a lot of secrets about her, so be ready. So first and foremost is we have to understand that Ma Sheetala of Gurgaon is the very same as Ma Meldi. Okay, and we will get into a lot of that story, but first we have to understand the significations of Mata Meldi. So the seven behens, the Saat behens, seven sisters, were worshipped together as a group, alright, as a collective. They were worshipped together and they was called Saat behens. Now when we speak about seven, the number seven, we are immediately connected to the Pleiades constellation or Kritika. And why am I emphasizing Kritika? It's because Kritika has a signification, that is, Kritika is known as the cutters. And if you talk about a Ma Masani or Ma Madanan or Chowk Chaurahi ki Devi, you're talking about her ability to cutting. She also carries with her, if you can see over here, she also carries with her a knife, alright, to sever things. So we have to understand the certain associations that present the archetype to us. First and foremost is Masani has a deep connection to the chthonic world. Okay, she is essentially connected to spirits, which is why in the khatas we have all the spirits and all of these entities that walk in her khatas. And I told you that there is an explanation for this, that as she was conquering the various negative energies and black magic in Kamrup Kamakhya, the entities there surrendered to her, and as they surrendered, kept surrendering to her, as she kept surrendering to her, then we realize that all of them are now a part of her army. Okay, so this is very important to understand, that her connection to the Pleiades or Kritika Nakshatra and the cutting aspect of things, right? So the Sat Matas, oftentimes they were worshipped outside as protectress. And yeah, you can drop me an email, tina@tinahills.com. But let us understand this, the archetype and what it presents to us, because Ma Masani, Ma Madanan is a liminal deity. Now everybody, if you've not been under the rock all these years, you understand what a liminal space means. So when we discuss a liminal world, then we talk about like places of transition, like crossroads. Alright, Mata Madanan, one of her names is Chowk Chaurahi ki Devi. Alright, so that means that she presides over the crossroads. Now what are the crossroads but a transitional point, an echo of what a town would look like, because you know you often have four roads crossing and you have everything around it. It could look like, you know, there are people there like in a regular town, but crossroads are liminal spaces, spaces of transition. So immediately you have to understand that Ma Masani or Ma Madanan deals with this transitional aspect. Okay, being a chthonic deity, she is connected to the netherworld. Okay, and she is kind of a go-between through the worlds of human, through the human and mortal realms, and a go-between to the deities. So what does it mean to be a Chowk Chaurahi ki Devi? To be a Devi who presides over the boundaries All right, and when we talk about such goddesses who have this liminal aspect, and I mean, a liminal spaces greatly terrify me. Don't know if they terrify you. Like, you know, think of a railway station at the dead of night. The railway station becomes a liminal space. It becomes a space which is absolutely vacant, or say an abandoned building. It has all these memories and it has all this activity that happened in it. But suddenly, at the dead of night, it is a ghost world. There's no one there, there's no movement, and this is what we call liminal spaces. And Mata Madanan has an association to liminal spaces. Okay, so the Pleiades is of course a very mystical constellation, the Pleiades, all right. And interestingly, Kritika Nakshatra is the birth star of Uchishta Ganapati. And I have told you that how Uchishta Ganapati connects actually to Meldi in many ways. Okay, so and these Masanis are like Yakshanis. Okay, they're the very same energies as the Yakshanis. And as you know, that Uchishta Ganapati is Mahadyaksha. So he has a connection to all the Yakshas and Yakshanis. So if you look at the Pleiades, all right, Pleiades has an association to fire, Dahan Shakti of Uchishta Ganapati. It's fiery, Pitta Dosh. And in Western astrology, they represent coping with sorrow. So like we say that, you know, Mata Meldi or Mata Masani or Mata Madanan, Chowk Chaurahi wali Devi is such an energy who helps us introspect or take action on things with which no other deities can help us. And this I will link to her creation story of when the Dasha Mahavidyas created her through the mail or the dirt of their hands. So Ganpati was also created from the residual dirt of the bath of Ma Parvati. So that's how he became her gatekeeper. And he was such a gatekeeper who did not even allow Mahadev to come in. It's such a stubborn, obstinate energy of Kritika. So now when we come to the ability to cut, okay, the ability to cut, and she carries not only, she's at the back over there, she carries not only a knife but also a sword and a trishul, which symbolizes a tripartite connection, everything in threes, all right, which we will get talking about in great detail, because this tripartite system relates directly to Ma Tripura Sundari as well, and the trinity of the gods, the trinity of Hinduism. And this Trinitarian structure is seen in many systems actually. But Mata Madanan, Mata Meldi carries with her a Trishul. The Trishul reflecting her tripartite aspect. Also the feminine Shakti has three major stages: the maiden, the mother and the crone. So there is of course a symbol of that as well. Yes. Fall. You want to go out? Wait, shadow, wait. All right. So now when we talk about Kritika's energy, it is fire, right? And Masani resides, Mata Masani resides in the Smashan. So what is the one constant in the Smashan? What is the one constant thing that we see? The burning of chitas, the funeral pyre. So this connection to fire, and fire is actually the greatest symbol of transmutation, if you know about that, all right. And because of this transmutational power of fire, Mata Masani and Yuji give us the powers of metamorphosis. We can change who we are, our propensities, our disposition. Alright, so this is very important to understand. Helena Petrovna Blavatsky of the Theosophical movement said that this constellation, the Pleiades constellation, is intimately associated to Kali Yuga. Alright, to Kali Yuga. And she also said that the Kritika are the nurses of Mangal. Alright, and Mangal is, the Senapati of the celestial armies. And herein you find a syncretic association to Archangel Michael. Alright, who is also the leader of the celestial hosts. Okay, and both Kartik, this is also another very interesting point, both Kartik and Sanat Kumar or Kartik and Archangel Michael have one thing in common: they are Kumaras or virgins. And now this directly connects to Meldi. She is also a Kumari. She is a celibate. Alright, so this is very, very important to understand. So the seven matas, the saptamatrikas, when you look at the yogini structure, when you look at the rural structure, you can realize that the Sat Behens, alright, the Sat Behens are Shaktis of each chakra. Each chakra has a Shakti, and in a sense they are also the gatekeepers of the chakras. So that's very, very important to understand that in a sense they are gatekeepers of the chakras, the Sat Behens. Out of them, Masani Meldi, of course, is one of the primary Behens of the Sat Behens, the seven sisters. Alright, now let us come back to discussing when I talk about Madanan Mata, when I talk about Chowk Chaurahi ki Devi, when I talk about Juganan Mata, when I talk about Mata Masani, when I talk about Ma Sheetala, when I talk about Ma Meldi, you have to understand that they are not different Devis. They are one and the same. Depending upon where you come from, the name changes. But they are not to be thought of as different entities. Ma Sheetala is verily Ma Madanan. Ma Madanan is verily Ma Meldi. There is no segregation here, so please understand that, okay? And the first thing to understand, yes, also you have to understand one thing, that she being the Adhishthatri Devi of the crossroads, it directly symbolizes her ability to give us guidance as to what path to take. The choice is of course ours as to what direction we will tread forth, but she is a guiding light in that liminal transitional stages of our life. And the crossroads is where a lot of souls gather, a lot of spirits gather after death. Thereby we understand why Mata Masani has a direct chthonic association, why she is associated to the world of spirit. Alright, so that is something we've got to understand, that I will be using all of these names interchangeably. Alright, there is no difference between Ma Sheetala, Ma Meldi, Ma Madanan. They are one and the same. Alright, so being the Adhishthatri Devi of the crossroads, she guides us. and she helps us when we need it the most. Okay, when we are sitting in the confines of our own home, we are safe. The situation is different. But when we are out in the world and we are going through crossroads where there is no human habitation, yes, sure, just drop me a message. So at a time when there is no one, we need that guiding light. So always remember that. And if you honestly look at our lives, change or transition is the only permanent thing that we know. There's nothing more permanent than transition. There is nothing more permanent than change. So because we are always changing, when we do Meldi Sadhana, we can augur the change. We can ground that change. Alright, so that's definitely something to think about. Now, Ma Sheetala, let's delve into her story. And Ma Sheetala's origins can be found in the Mahabharata. Alright. Now, she is none other than Kripi Devi. Kripi Devi being Guru Dronacharya's wife. Now, Kripi Devi was a very pious and devoted lady, and she used to also teach the Pandavas and the Kauravas different things, shastras, and they were learning archery and all, right, close by Gurgaon. And she would teach them all of these things, and she would be a guide and a mother, a guruma to the Kauravas and the Pandavas. She was also one such dedicated and loving lady that she would go around and help children who were sick with either smallpox or cholera. Cholera was very harmful back then. It could kill you. Smallpox, again, we have eradicated smallpox right now from the world, but these are real things that she did, taking care of children, of people. So she kind of became a revered person around there, and after her death, her murti was built, and they started to worship her as Ma Sheetala. Actually, one of her other names is also Lalita. So they began to worship her as Ma Sheetala, and people would come with their desires and their wishes, and they would either offer bhog, prasad, or they would do some kind of ritual to gain her blessing. No, I haven't. No. Alright, so they would give her blessings. She would give them her blessings when they would ask for anything that was going wrong in their lives, basically. And also another interesting thing I forgot to tell you is that after Dronacharya died, Ma Kripi, who was very, as I told you, very benefic and very pious and very devoted to the community, such a woman she was, she committed the Sati Dah Pratha. She self-immolated. And after Dronacharya died, and they made a murti in her very likeness, and they began to worship her as Ma Sheetala. So this is very, very interesting that again, Sati Dah being fire, burning, self-immolation, being setting yourself on fire, again connects us to the Pleiades and the Dahana Shakti. And in that place, right, where they created the Sheetala Mata temple in Gurgaon, people would come with a pious heart and in that Sati Sthal, and all their wishes would come true. So her energy grew, her powers grew, she began to help numerous people, Ma Sheetala. In fact, in Calcutta, we have many, many temples to Ma Sheetala, and she is considered to be the goddess of the most difficult diseases. So smallpox and leprosy, cholera, tuberculosis, you know, drug resistant TB right now is going through. So worshipping Ma Sheetala can help you overcome any real deep and hidden disease that you are just unable to heal. This sadhana does that. Now, later on, as time passed by, the Mughal emperors who ruled that area, the Delhi area, they were very heartless, and many of them were Islamic fanatists. So because of their fundamentalism, they would go around destroying a lot of temples. And not only destroying a lot of temples, they would take the deity from inside the Garbhagriha and they would either destroy them and they were built with very strong stone, Koshti Pathar, and very strong stone, you know. So if they couldn't break them, they would just immerse them in the river. So this is mentioned in many texts also, that this was a practice that was happening. And after immersing the deity in the river, they would capture the temple and then they would convert it to a mosque. So what happened was that at such a time, obviously Ma Sheetala's murti was lost, taken, and then the winds of change march forward, they flow everywhere, helter skelter, and cut to two brothers. Okay, two brothers, and one's name was Singla, the other one's name I'm forgetting right now. And these brothers, they owned a lot of land, like hundreds of acres, okay, hundreds of acres. And the brothers were doing well in the beginning, and they were, you know, good landlords, so to speak, and they let everybody prosper. But suddenly, after they got married, what happened was that the two wives of the two brothers began to fight with each other. Okay? Like, this is mine or that is mine, you know, my husband owns this. So the wives started feuding, and this brought about a tension between the two brothers, obviously, right? And then the situation got so bad that they had to divide up the land, and the two brothers divided the lands of their parents, okay, and the whole estate basically. So Singla got 8 bighas, and if you look at the places that were created here, Arjun Nagar, Bhim Nagar, Shivpur, all right, they were created here, and this is the exact spot where Dronacharya died. All right, he died over there. And in the old days, like I told you, that he used to teach the Kauravas and the Pandavas right there. He used to teach them archery, scriptures, different things at the Gurukul, right? And right there in this particular place, you know, it came to Singla after the estate got divided. There was a talab, or a kind of like a water body, a talab. And right there at that talab is where it was a very spiritual place. Okay, it was very full of spiritual vibrations, and people could come and take water from there, and they would think about Dronacharya's wife, Ma Sheetala Devi as she was called, and they would take the water and go. And it was a real miraculous holy water that was available over there. All right, now basically what happened was that Singla used to regularly visit this particular talab. And I mean, there are conflicting stories as to his character, but we won't get into that. But basically what happened is that he triggered some Shakti in him, which is why Devi appeared to him, Ma Sheetala appeared to him in the night. And she told him that, okay, Vatsa, Pratyakshikaran has happened now, and Ma Sheetala is there in his dreams, and she's like, okay, Vatsa, Tathastu, what do you want? So Singla, was not very different from us, because, what do we really want in this social media hungry culture? We want likes, loves, we want accolades, we want to be acknowledged. So Singla also wanted all of that, but he was a wee bit greedier, and he said that I want my name to be immortal, right? So now obviously if you're not doing the kind of work that you're supposed to do, and then you want money but you're not working, you want money but there are no revenue streams that you have activated, then money is not going to fall on your head. Even if it does, like say a lottery or some kind of gambling, you still have to take the necessary action for that money to fructify. It doesn't just literally fall out of thin air. So similarly, Ma Sheetala told him that, Vatsya, please think again. What do you really want? She obviously wanted him to introspect a bit on this, but he didn't really care about that, and he was like, no, I want to be immortalized. My name to be immortalized, right? So Ma Sheetala, at that point, what she did was that she called the Masanis, alright? She called the Masanis and she said that, be with this man and see to that his name survives, okay? And very interestingly, what happened is that also in that dream when she appeared to him, she sort of had a clear set of instructions that you have to help the people around, you have to be more spiritually aligned, and if you walk on the path that I tell you to, you will be able to heal people by just touching them, and hopefully Singla put that boon to good use. I mean, we can't really say what he did with that kind of a blessing, because can you imagine if any of us had that power? Now I would be really happy, because then that way I would be able to help not only humans but also so many animals and plants. So that's like an amazing thing that he got as a boon, right? And what happened was that Singla, after this particular visitation by the Devi, became spiritually inclined. He did, all right, and he was very moved by this kind of deep spiritual experience. I mean, who wouldn't be? We all would. I mean, imagine having a dream when the Devi comes to you and says, whoever you touch will be healed and all their problems will be solved, and you think it to be a dream, but you go out and touch a sick animal or a sick old lady and she rejuvenates. I mean, kind of fulfilling, right? So he focused his energy on Shakti Upasana, on Mata Masani, on Mata Sheetala, and he also received very powerful Shakti path obviously that day. So many Kimbadanti, meaning legends, say that he had a very powerful way to do thank you. He had a very powerful way to do Shakti path. So he would touch people and heal them. Also do powerful Shakti path, so they would ultimately, be able to remove all the conflicts within and whatever their obstacles were and move forward. So that was a really amazing thing that happened to Singla actually. Come to think about it, sometimes when I think about these stories, I can feel myself transported to that time, into that space, and to truly experience it. It feels amazing. You should try that too. because I have a connection to these stories. And when I say stories or myths, a lot of people have come and scolded me on my channel and said that, how dare you call our history, the history of Sanatan Dharma, as myths and legends. All I'll tell those guys is that, yeah, true. I'll tell you that I completely forgot what I was saying. So, anyway, see all the saris and all, I read saris and I was like, so we were talking about, so transporting yourself back to the time frames, which I can do because I'm very connected to this, this Devi, Ma Sheetala. My grandfather used to take me to her temples when I was a kid, and when he would go to office every single day, there was a Sheetala Devi temple. And a lot of the stories I heard from him actually, from my mother's father, and he would tell me all these beautiful stories of Ma Sheetala and Ma Sheetala, right? So anyway, let's get back to the story. That Singla became very, very focused on his spiritual journey. He began to give Shaktipat. He began to heal people. He did what he could, right? And it is said that he got so involved in the sadhana of Mata Sheetala that he created the murti with his own hands and he established it in the Marhi, the small temple that was already there, Kachi Marhi. Okay, Marhi could mean a temple, a small temple, or a kind of like an open area, okay, a mutt. So like that, all right. Yes, Sheetala Saptami tomorrow and Sheetala Saptami, Ashtami or day after. Two of the most powerful days for that, and I'm going to make a small little short video about that as to what I will be doing and how you guys can be a part of it. But Sheetala Saptami and Ashtami are two of the most powerful days to invoke Mata, Masaniya Mata Sheetala. So this mantras are not given like that. You have to take Diksha for mantras of Mata Masani. Okay, Mata Masani Meldi. And you can just say Ma Jai Ma Sheetala, Jai Ma Sheetala, Jai Ma Sheetala. Nam jap is equally as valid. How we say Ram, 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 Ram. Right? The same thing. We can just say Jai Ma Sheetala, Jai Ma Sheetala, Jai Ma Sheetala. Alright. So just that is enough actually. Alright. So now where were we? We started speaking about his Shaktipat. Okay, yeah. So some say that, so Marhi, he established the murti in the Kachi Marhi, right? Now, other conflicting Kimbadanti says that, I told you about how the Mughals would immerse our murtis, right? So another such Kimbadanti is that the murti that Singla found was actually an old ancient murti that was laid to waste by one such fanatical Islamic Badshah. Okay, one of the Badshahs there, they just took the Devi Murti and they just decided to immerse it. So there are conflicting sides. Some say that Singla built it, some say Singla didn't build it, but you understand what I say. But he established her in that Kachi Madi and he started doing very serious sadhanas. And this particular area became Ma Sheetala Mandir in Gurgaon. Okay, Ma Sheetala Devi's Mandir, where I have been many years ago, but I have been there. And we find this story mentioned in the Purans. Now, whether Singla found the murti or whether Singla created the murti is not important. The fact is that he, with his bhakti and his devotion, the murti is very, very Jagrat. Very, very Jagrat. Okay, and there thousands of people go to Ma Sheetala's temple with whatever a little problems, human problems that they have, and the Devi always solves them. So, this is really very interesting. Now, detour. Once upon a time, swimming in a place in Bengal, I had found a Devi Murti too. And this Devi Murti, to me, it looked like I was very young at that time, so I didn't know. But my mom and dad, to them, it looked like a Buddhist Devi Murti. And it was so very different that I had never seen anything like that in my life. Alright? Later on, once I met my guru at the Kumbh Mela and I showed him the murti, and my guru said that this is one of Matangi's Buddhist way how they worship her, Buddhist Matangi, who's also sometimes confused with Ma Chamunda. But she didn't look like Chamunda, but she is a Devi that is like Matangi of the Buddhists. And my guru said it was chipped. And he said, no, you can't keep that in the house. So I gave it to him and he took it to Pashupatinath. And and that murti had a lot of very interesting stories or very interesting experiences that I had with the murti. And I would have kept the murti, but my guru was quite insistent that that murti is not to be kept in the house. So, she is in Nepal now. But I did too find a murti, and that came from where I don't know. But of course, Bengal had a lot of Buddhist people there at that time, and it was unlike any kind of like Tara or any of those typical Buddhist Devis. She was nothing like that. And there was a certain fascinating supernatural element to that murti that, wow, it's amazing. Anyway, let's be back now. Now, this Mughal Badshah who threw away the murti, this was Ma Kripi's murti. And who is Ma Kripi? The wife of Dronacharya. So this is Ma Kripi's murti that was already established there after she had committed Satidah, I told you. Self-immolation actually has a deep significance. It is a kind of, I don't know, but she was a Buddhist Devi, and she was unlike any Devi that I have seen. Very, very interesting stories that I have. Okay, so Kripi's murti could just have been found like that, all covered in silt, and there you have Singla discover this murti, and it may have actually cemented his belief. Or because we are playing with Kimbadantis or legends and folklore, we don't know as to the exact history. So maybe he found the murti, started the sadhana, and then got that's very, very amazing and pretty difficult also. Some of the experiences were not easy. They were not, wow, glorious, here I am in Swarga, seventh heaven, and some of the experiences were very difficult, but yeah, but there was a supernatural element to that murti that I had discovered. And Yeah, but after that my life did change. Did. So presumably maybe Singla found the murti of Ma Kripi that was covered in stilt, and maybe after that the dream, the visitation by Ma Sheetala, who was actually Ma Kripi, happened after that. It's very possible. So, we cannot really chronologically date these events. That's a sad thing. Maybe one day we will be able to. Now, Ma Masani, Ma Madanan, Ma Meldi are all avatar of Mahamaya. Okay, they're all avatar of Mahamaya. And Mata Meldi, Masani Meldi's story of how she was created from the dirt of the Dasha Mahavidyas is a standing testimony to the Yog Shakti of the Dasha Mahavidyas and their manifestation into Kali Yuga. Because what was the story? The story was that, the Asura would, the Dashamavidyas were trying to slay an Asura. But the Asura, once, he kept running through different timelines, maybe, who knows, and the Devis caught up with him, and then he hid in a cow's carcass. Now, of course, you have to understand that each idea is a bigger symbol at play. Cow's carcass could mean something, and at that point, the Devi, the Dasha Mahavidyas, could not enter the cow's carcass, so they created this Shakti from the dirt of their hands. Alright, and so she became Meldi. So she's a living testimony actually to the Yog Shakti, that they created a Shakti as powerful as themselves. Okay, who is the 11th Mahavidya, the Maharani of Kali Yuga. We have to understand that. But how did Kripi, Dronacharya's wife, how did Kripi become the Devi of Chowk Chaurahi? How did Kripi become Madanan? How did Kripi become Sheetala or Joganan? How did she do that? Alright, now this is something that you will not find discussed, and many people don't know the answer to this. So let's delve into this. Ma Masani, Ma Sheetala is known as Ajanmi. That means she has no birth, no death. She is Ajanmi, the unborn. And it is said that the Shakti that would later transpire as Madan and Choganan always existed in the crossroads. Okay, there was Shakti in the crossroads with all the souls transiting. Can you think of how many accidents happen in the crossroads? Right? How many people die, or even if an accident happens a little away from the crossroads, there is a propensity for the souls to gather in the crossroads. Alright, so there's a very interesting anecdote to this. Is the Egyptian hieroglyphics for roads was a crossroad. Afterlife, something very interesting about the Egyptian hieroglyphics that I'm unable to recall. There's definitely a energy in these chalks, in this the crossing of 4 roads. Okay, there's definitely an energy, and that has always existed in the form of Devi Madanan. And this is a secret. We don't learn about this. We are not told this. But all you need to do is look through different cultures, look through, liminal goddesses, liminal gods. You can look through psychopomps. Psychopomps are gods and goddesses that transfer us from the mortal realm to the other realm. All right, like Anubis. Anubis is a psychopomp. Like Yama, the dut of death, the messenger of death. Yama is a psychopomp. So also you have to look at Isis. There's a lot of syncretism between Isis and Mata, Chowk Chaurahi ki Mata, between Hecate and Chowk Chaurahi ki Mata, Madanan, between, if you look at Inanna, Ishtar, you know, Inanna Ishtar also has a chthonic signification, because Inanna had to shed everything and walk down the 7 hells to rescue her husband. All right. Between Devis and Rani. So Rani means ruler. So when we say Sri Maharagni, right, so we say the empress of the empresses, Ma Lalita Tripura Sundari. So she is of course a Devi, but she's also the ruler, right? She rules over us, she presides over us. So they're kind of interchangeable here, I guess. So coming back to these liminal spaces, these transitional places, and you know, when you think of a liminal space, you immediately think about, you know, ghosts or the netherworld, or you know, that's what happened with all these goddesses, with Ishtar, with Inanna, with even Persephone and her, you know, journey into the netherworld. So crossroads, again, there's a connection to the chthonic realms. Wherever there is the crossroad, there are lots of spirits there. I mean, if you ever go to the crossroads at night, I mean, in fact, there was a song like that about and about one of the jazz artists that I'm forgetting his name, that he went to the crossroads and he made a deal with the devil. And also when you look at the Haitian voodoo system, you find one such Chowk Chaurahi ki entity, and that is Papa Legua. Okay, so these are all those chthonic, liminal, psychopomp. Well, no, I would want to talk in English because I have many people from all over the world who listen to me, as well as many people from South India, and they don't speak Hindi. So it's better for me to speak in English because I can include all these people. Because English is kind of like an internationally accepted language that we all can communicate with. So therefore, so as I was saying, that there is definitely a similarity between Mata Madanan, Mata Masani, and with Hecate, because Hecate is also a goddess of the crossroads, a goddess of transition, the Greco-Roman goddess Hecate. All right. So liminal goddesses are a lot of fun, and a lot of, like, even Hecate has a tripartite connection actually. She's often symbolized with 3 faces. I wish you luck. 3 faces, and Mata Masani holds a Trishul. So also when we do Ghat Sthapana, we draw Trishul on the Ghat. So there is definitely that side of Mata Masani that we have to understand, the connection to Isis, the connection to Ishtar, Inanna, the connection to Hecate. Okay, all these goddesses have come from Mata Masani. All right. Hello? Is anybody there? One sec, Shadow, wait. Shadow, don't go there. Just sit down here. Hello? Sit down, sit down. Baby? Somebody take Shadow. Okay. Okay, so as I was saying, that there is this deep connection to all these. Take Shadow, please. He wants to use. Shadow. He's non-stop thinking. He'll drop everything. Go there. My poor dog wants to be let out. So, okay, let's get back to the discussion at hand. That there is a connection to Masani with Isis, Inanna, Ishtar, and Hecate. And with Hecate, we directly see the, yes, I am married. Yes, I am married. All right. So one day maybe we will discuss in great detail the syncretic attributes of Mata Masani with say Isis, with say Ishtar, Inanna, with Hecate. There is a lot of syncretism out there, believe me. And it's kind of mind-boggling how we humans, we fight with each other, we get angry with each other, we get upset with each other. But at the end of the day, our ideas, our archetypes, our theories are very, very similar, just like our DNA. You know, yes, each DNA is unique, but the DNA signatures of all human beings are pretty much the same, and we are 99% identical DNA to a cow. It's that 1% that makes us human and them, you know, bovine. So we share so much of our genetic makeup with a banana. So it just goes to show how interconnected the whole tapestry is. The whole tapestry of the I won't say human saga, because it's not just our saga that's kind of being like, you know, egocentric, but the tapestry of life, the fabric of reality is sewn in the same fabric. You know, like the ancient native Indians used to think of the goddess Shakti as a mother spider, spinning different worlds, you know, spinning different worlds, just like a spider spins her webs. So that's definitely very interesting, the syncretic connection to Hecate, the connection to Isis, Ishtar, Diana. All these goddesses are nocturnal, of course, chthonic, nocturnal, liminal. Many of them are psychopomps. It's very, very interesting to understand this connection that we have, you know. And it's beautiful, actually, if you ask me, that we all sing the same songs, but the language differs. So let's not blame God for the Tower of Babel, but let's just continue on our discussion. See how we already had a little tiff about, no, my husband is not, but yeah, he is spiritual, but no, he's not a sadhak. So we just had a Tower of Babel incident here, that somebody said speak in Hindi. For instance, maybe he got upset because he could not understand what I was saying. And this language barrier is actually what keeps us feuding. So once we understand that, we sing the same songs, but in different languages. We hold the same archetypes dear to our heart. You know, so it's a way to connect to the goddess. The goddess is just not mine or yours. The goddess is in everything. And many, many wise men and women through different eras in different countries have realized her truth. So this is a little ode to her, that may she enlive in us with inspiration so we can continue singing her stories. Because after all, what are we doing now? We are telling stories. Stories of fantastic worlds, stories of the goddesses. And stories is not to be taken in the negative, that this is fiction or not to be believed. But what are we human beings but just stories, right? When we sit down and we interact with one another, what do we exchange? Stories. Stories make us who we are. So they are not to be looked down upon, that, oh my God, this woman is saying all this is just stories. No, I'm telling you that we are but stories. For once we go, what remains? Memories. And memories are not perfect. We make up false memories all the time. But what remains of us is stories. Stories that our descendants will tell. Stories like the ones I tell of my ancestors, who were brought down by the Sena kings to worship Ma Kali in Kali Ghat, to be the first tantrics, the first Shivaites of Ma Kali in Kali Ghat. Their life is but a story to me, for I have not lived it. I have heard it passed down from generation to generation. They exist in my mind as a memory, So this connection, and very interestingly, I'll tell you that the sari that I'm wearing is from a boutique in Calcutta called Poruma. And the way they write about their saris is they call it stories on fabric. So each sari is a story on fabric. This, for instance, is called her red feet, her alta, Ma's feet, if you can see, with alta. The marks that she makes as she walks, her alta feet, there. So you understand how the power of telling a story, that's what makes us human. So coming back to this, is that, okay, now why, how did Kripi Ma become Mata of Chowk Chaurahi? How did she become the goddess of thresholds? How did she become the goddess of crossroads? This is very interesting, and we have to go to the Mahabharata to explicate this further. And now what happens is that when Krishna would visit Gurgaon, Ma Kripi, who was one of his most profound devotees, she was absolutely devoted to Hari Krishna, and she would worship him, and she would sing his bhajans, and she would surrender to her Krishna completely. All right? She was very devoted, very, very devoted. In fact, when news came that Krishna was going to come, when she heard that Krishna was going to come to Hastinapur, then she would go with the jharu, and she would go to all the Chowk Chaurahis, all the thresholds, all the crossroads, and she would start cleaning and beautifying those crossroads, because Krishna is coming, and he must find the crossroads to be sparkling clean, adorned with flowers, decorated, incense, all of that beautiful things she would do, all of those beautiful things she would do for Krishna. And as her devotion grew, her yog bal also grew. Her powers, her yogic powers, they grew. And then she began to know when Krishna was coming. She didn't need messengers anymore. She knew when Krishna was coming, through which crossroad Krishna would come through, which crossroads Krishna would come through. And so she would go there, beautify that place, and she would start doing his seva and puja. Ma Kripi was so very devoted to her Hari Vishnu, to Krishna. And honestly, as she was so devoted to Krishna, Krishna obviously gave her that blessing, right? And thereby, through that blessing, Ma Kripi was able to know everything that was happening at the crossroads. And they stretched more than just geographical crossroads. They obviously became the crossroads of life, right? It was Krishna's boon that made Ma Sheetala Chowk Chaurahi ki Devi. All right? It was very much Krishna consciousness that gave her the power to be the Adhishthatri Devi of the thresholds. It's no easy power, believe me, because you get to know every single person who comes and goes if you rule the threshold. Everything is always known by you. Okay, so this is a lot of power actually. We'll get into the power of Mata Masani because it's spectacular. And it was Krishna's boon who gave her Chowk ki Shakti. There are many videos on Kali Sadhana. Check them out in the live segment. Alright, and so what happened was in the Sheetala Mandir, Seva Puja was not allowed for all the castes. Right, all the castes were not allowed to enter Ma Sheetala Devi's temple. And thereby the Adivasis began to worship Ma Sheetala at the crossroads, albeit in the tamasic way, because that was their way of life. They would eat meat, so they offered her meat. They would drink the country liquor that they make, because after a whole day of laborious work, they needed that alcohol to maybe fall asleep or whatever. I don't know, I don't drink, but there's something about physical labor, alright, something about physical labor that makes people indulge in, I won't say indulge, it becomes a necessity. Intoxicants become a necessity, alright. So there is definitely a connection to that the Adivasis, because they could not enter the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, people of the lower caste, they could not enter Mata Sheetala's temple. So they began to offer her bhog, prasad in the Chaurahi, okay, in the Chowk, right? And that is very, very interesting. And now Sheetala is the mother of all the Masanis. Now, a very common way to understand I didn't know that. I had no idea about that. Who insulted the Devi, and why would any actress do that? I mean, this is beyond me. I am trying to stay abreast of the political news that's happening, but I have been so busy, and now with Navratri starting, I don't know, Why? I thought Kangana was pro-Hindu. Kangana was one of the star advocates of Hindutva with the BJP. Why would you say anything about Mata Bagalamukhi? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so anyway, coming back to what are Masanis. So for people who want to understand what are Masanis, is very simple. Masanis are Yakshinis. Okay, so Masan Vidya is Yakshini Vidya, but a tamasic form of Yakshini Vidya. Alright, so the Masani is synonymous to Yakshinis. Alright, like I told you that Ma Sheetala is a goddess who could cure the most poisonous. Yes, of course, yes. Okay, and so we did the Singla story, of course, and it's very interesting. Now, interestingly, if you look at it, right, Sheetala was such a loving and caring person, right? And then how could we use her energy in the negative? Like when we say Masani bhej diya hai, Masani chauki bheja hai. Yes, I know Masaya. Yes, I do. I'm very interested in Brahmin Devis. So I tend to do research and I also have someone who's very learned in Brahmin Vidya, and I didn't know that Kangana would dare say anything about a Hindu temple, and why should she? She is standing as a champion of Hindutva. Why should she make such a loose comment? But yeah, we do need a very strong Hindu political leader. I believe that a woman Hindu political leader is very necessary, and hopefully Kangana will be able to keep up to that pressure. It's not an easy place to be. But I know better candidates than Kangana. But Kangana has inserted herself into this whole BJP and the RSS nexus. So she's kind of inserted herself nice and well there. Anyway, may oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. Good. 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 I know very little about Kangana. I've not seen any of her movies. I don't watch Hindi Bollywood movies at all until and unless there's something special. What I watch is world cinema, movies from different places around the world, and I like Turkish movies, I like Spanish movies, and all of that. So, all right, her rivals. Yeah, I think it was Rahul Gandhi who said some disparaging comment about Shakti, but I don't actually know what happened. Anyway, coming back to our discussion, is that smallpox, cholera, what are these? Incurable, and her power is so strong that she cures incurable disease. Sikh people should definitely do Masani Bandhan Kriya. I teach that if you're interested. Of course, if you want protection, Masani Tabiz I have, Masani Dhaga I have. Dhaga, all you need to do is just wear it. It is energized with Mata Masani Meldi protection mantra. And as you know, I'm doing very powerful Anushtan of Mata Masani Meldi, and getting a lot of realizations, a lot of powerful experiences with this. And I don't know if you guys can sense a change in me, but I can sense a change in me. It's quite strong, and let's see where this goes. As I said, that it's all an interplay of the sands of time with my own consciousness and the devotion that I can bring to the practice, right? So let's see how far I progress. Everything is open just yet. I've just enrolled into this powerful Masani Meldi Vidya, and it is, once you enroll in her school, she's very strict. She has a direct connection to you. So, hello. So anyway, let's get back to our discussion. That Sheetala was all sattvic, okay, and Mata Masani was all tamasic. Because Mata Sheetala could not be worshipped by the Adivasis in the temple, that is deplorable, they began to worship Mata Masani in the Chowk, and called her Chowk Chaurahi ki Devi, called her Madanan, Juganan, and gave her tamasic bhog. Now, what happened is that and how did Mata Masani become so fearful and such a scary archetype कि मसानी भेज दिया मैंने, मारन प्रक्रिया कर दिया, मसानी हो गया, मसान ने मारन कर दिया. How did she? It's because Masani appears in the archetype that she presents to you, the image, if I may say, but image, of course, it is loaded with meaning when I say image. The archetype that presents itself to you is a reflection of your own psyche, is a reflection of your own disposition, your own manifestation. This is something to remember, that the Sat Behens are nocturnal, chthonic, I told you, chthonic, liminal, nocturnal, psychopomps, and they come alive at night. That's when the tandav starts. I told you how how Bhairav dances with the yoginis, and how Tandav starts in the night in the smashan, right? The nocturnal energies come alive. And the Masanis, they do leelas with the sadhaks. And you experience their form according to your own disposition. Now, if you're sacrificing a bakra or a lamb, and you think that you're going to hurt someone with that magic, then obviously that's what will happen, and she will appear to you as frightful, as menacing. But if you are Devik in your own thoughts, if you're Sattvic, then she appears in this very powerful Sattvic form. I find her more Rajasic, this particular form of Meldi that I have behind me, if you can see. I find her very similar to Batuk Bhairav and Uchishta Ganapati. I find her the same vibration from Batuk Bhairav and from this particular image of Masani Meldi. And with Uchishta Ganapati, there's this coherence, there's a synchronization in them, and I find them very Rajasic, very, very Rajasic. Rajasic is the doer, understand? Sattvic and Tamasic are not doers. They hold that form, but it is Rajas that creates this shift, that creates this change. Alright. So, now when we understand that Sheetala was totally Sattvic, right? And Masani was totally Tamasic. Back in the days when the aboriginal people, the Adivasis, would worship her with, sacrificial offerings. Now, as we understand Mata Masani, Mata Sheetala's archetype in the contemporary times, that it is a mixture of Sattvic and Tamasic, which I told you is, I kind of think of them as Rajasic. Okay, so of course sadhaks use her for Tamasic purposes, that they do black magic. We'll get into that also. And some people who want to do Seva Puja, or there are Kuldevi. She's a Kuldevi, I mean not there are Kuldevi, there are Kuldevis, but she's a Kuldevi of many people in India. So those people who have her as their Kuldevi, it's your absolute responsibility to, if not do any puja or ritual, then at least offer her Bhog Prasad. And that Bhog Prasad has to be told by a guru who does her sadhana, because Mata Masani will take Bhog, and actually a lot of people think that Mata Masani Meldi only works with Bhog. Her propensity to do any action is only through Bhog, but that's not true. We'll get into that also. There's a lot of misconceptions between in the minds of people when it comes to Mata Masani, and how she can be used to nullify black magic. Okay, and it is not she who is doing all this black dark magic on anyone. It is the Bhagat himself who has called upon her, given her bali, and then has done Vachan Bandhan. Okay, Vachan Bandhan means has taken the promise, has bound her to his word, binding the Devi or the Devata. This is not right. Like I told you, this is Yakshani energy, and people who think that they can bind Yakshanis are stupid. People who say there are tantrics, my students sometimes share with me on YouTube saying Maine Masani ko tod diya hai, that means I've broken the Masani, cut the Masani, I've thrown the Masani out, are stupid. She's the 11th Mahavidya. What will you throw her out? You mean that? And I told you that 360 Masanis or energies, Yakshanis work under her. Okay, and oftentimes, that's also very interesting. Who are these 360 Masanis? I'll get into that also. And it's quite shocking, because a lot of these 360 women, feminine figures, always work under her, and they are not all Devi Shaktis. Okay, there are souls who, when you pray to Mata Masani, or or some kriya has been done upon you, then your soul is owed to Mata Masani, and then you have to serve her till it is time for you to move on. Thresholds again, and many souls move on and they go on to other realms. And then again, the new person, transitional feminine soul, is taken by Mata Madanan, and she grooms them and she puts them to work. So oftentimes these souls who come as Masanis are oftentimes, yes, yeah, pretty much, are oftentimes, what happens is a form of Ma Kali. So oftentimes many women, okay, who maybe they've done black magic, or maybe that somebody's put a spell on a pregnant woman who's died because of Masani Kriya. Sometimes those souls are also taken in the 360 fold, understand, and then the Bhagat energizes them through the Masani Kriya, and then sets them to do the dirty work. So this is a big thing. A lot of times, a lot of pregnant women will die. You will hear of that. I mean, pregnant women do die. And a lot of their souls are enmeshed in this transitional stage, and it is only when they surrender to Masani Meldi, it is only then that they can cross the threshold and move on to a different, different vibe. And in fact, in this thumbnail, I've used a picture of me, an AI rendition of a picture of me playing the flute. Is because I wanted to tell you that the flute is a symbol of Krishna. And if you're a Krishna Bhakt, actually Mata Masani will immediately bless you. So this is there. Ma Sheetala will immediately bless you if you take the name of Hari Vishnu. So coming back to the Masanis, as I was saying, that how we now play it in Bhakti Bhaktai community is the Jodi of Mata Sheetala and Mata Masani are activated in a chowki, Jodi chowki it's called, of Sheetala and Masani. Okay, lot of people do this magic, lot of bhaktais who want to help people and who have established darbar, lot of them do this kind of work. All right, but sadly what happened is that I told you that the mixture, contemporary understanding of Mata Madanan is both tamasic and sattvic, more rajasic, like I said. Of course, she has a 5 beers who always chalo within her chowki, who always come into play whenever she is evoked, and they are always present with Ma Masani, her 5 veers. Okay, now there's a disturbing trend, okay, that is prevalent now, is Ghor Kali Yuga, of course. A disturbing trend is a leaning towards the more tamasic side of this worship, because people are not interested in sattvic stuff. 98% people are doing sadhana because they want something. They want money, they want a good relationship, they want problems to go away, they want something, they want to do bhakti bhaktai, you know, they want to be a bhagat or a bhua, they want something. Nobody, even if it's moksha, okay, there are those oddballs out there like, oh, we want moksha, even them they want something. So 99% people want something, which is why they do sadhana, and I don't blame them. It's okay. It's Kali Yuga, shit's going bad and you want a solution. So it's okay. So this trend of leaning towards the more tamasic is becoming more pronounced. I can tell you that. We are totally changing the concept of Mata Masani. Okay, we are changing the sattvic vibrations of Mata Sheetala, and we are converting them into all tamasic vibrations. Mata Masani Meldi is very, very sattvic actually, but we don't think of that now. We don't It's not something we consider. We want the dark side, ghouls, prates, all chthonic references. Sattvic is losing its foothold in our minds, so that's something. So now we associate Mata Masani with black magic, witchcraft, la, but that's very sad because Sheetala was primarily a very benefic deity, very benefic deity. Even when you think of Mark Kripke's story, she was a highly giving, loving, sacrificial woman. But in a sense, because of Ghor Kali Yuga, the signification is now leaning towards more tamasic. Alright? And basically what happened was that tamasic sadhaks entered into this field, the arena of Bhakti Bhaktai, right? And they began to work her Shakti by offering her bhog. Oh, I killed this person here, I'm going to sacrifice this lamb for you. Kill that, give me that person's property, I'll sacrifice a buffalo or a bull for you. So they are not looking at Shakti as Ma. They are not looking at Shakti as the great benefic mother. They are looking at Shakti as something they can control. They are looking at Shakti as something, as an avenue that will give them something in return. Tell me, when you lie in your mother's lap, do you think of, oh, what can my mother give me? When she dies, am I going to get her property? Am I going to get her money? Do you think that? Or do you just lie in your mother's lap and you just surrender and you become a little child again? She's your mother, the woman in whose arms you have grown up. So, if more people approached Masani Sadhana with the ideology, as I mentioned, that she's your mother, then the story would be different. But people want things, people want quick manifestation. Mata Masani's energy works really quickly. People want to manifest things. I want money, I want this, I want that, I want the man of my choice. I want more clients, I want bigger clients, I want to be like, the chai wala who was with Bill Gates, right? He made Bill Gates a chai, and then later on he was, he went viral for that, and then everybody was like, oh my God, you were with Bill Gates. And he supposedly said that, who, Bill Gates? I didn't know who he was. I just thought he was a white guy, normal white guy. So obviously he knew who Bill Gates was. The whole video was orchestrated and shot, and and the story was fed to us that the chai wala from Nagpur doesn't know who Bill Gates is. I give it to you that he's uneducated, but still, who doesn't know Microsoft in this day and age? Who doesn't know about information technology? Honestly, even if you live under the rock, you know about it, because life revolves around it now. So this is the propensity of social media to uplift this freaky stories like the chai wala of Nagpur. I have nothing against the man. He's a poor guy who's now finally getting his 2 minutes in the sun. But I have a problem with the mindset, with the ideology that we are glorifying whatever, what that man represents, his archetype. And maybe it's not. Maybe it could be just something that I think of. It's not something to be glorified. Great, a chai wala is meeting Bill Gates and, is buying a Porsche or something. Great. But at the end of the day, coming from solid middle class values and education, and, not making a spectacle out of yourself, but just, doing your good work, that's how I think. But that's not what most of the sadhaks and bhagats in the Meldi community are thinking. They want to, show you the more chthonic sides to her personality, the spirits, the ghouls, the prates, all of that. But there's a lot more to it. than that. Okay, I agree. It's interesting. It's fun. It's, you know, what have you. But there is a deeper side to that than just sheer entertainment, you know, or just mindless entertainment, or just, you know, something creepy. That kind of, you know, the supernatural, creepy, eerie vibe. We all want to get that sometime. I understand, but for that, you have Halloween in America and we have Bhoot Chaturdashi in India. So this leaning towards the more tamasic traits is why this whole system is again being hijacked by people who actually have no knowledge, by people who are actually, you know, charging obscene amounts of money to just give a mantra. It's very challenging the times, undoubtedly. Okay, but we must never forget that the Devi, the Bhog Prasad you offer, and Meldi Ma becomes very prasanna with Bhog Prasad. So even by offering her Satvik Bhog, she will make sure your life goes good. She's so kind and so benefic. So keep that in mind. Just by offering Bhog Prasad, you will be able to please her. But what is the right Bhog for you and your situation? That again only Guru can tell you. This is totally Gurumukhi Vidya. Okay, and only can be understood and, you know, siphoned through by somebody who lives with the system 24/7. Okay, so, and tamasic bhogs are horrible, you know, you're taking a life to create energy, to manifest what you want, right? And many sadhaks will say that, oh, look at nature, animals devour animals, right? This is not the place for remedies, but yeah, you can get some Kamakya Sindoor and apply as tilak. You can get a black dhaga from me. It's only $1,000. It's Meldi energized black dhaga that you can wear on your left if you're a woman, on the right if you're a man. And it's very, very effective. So we have to understand that, stop thinking that Mata Masani Meldi only works with Bhog. Yes, it is true, but there's a lot more to that. Just know that. Even if you don't know what it is, it's okay. So, Sheetala Masani are Yogmaya, the very incarnation of Yogmaya. Okay? And we can never truly understand or comprehend their energies or their greatness. We can't. Even when I think about it, my Ajna chakra is truly vibrating and I can barely keep my eyes open. So powerful. And her glory can only be experienced through sadhana. You know, the human intellect cannot articulate her grace in any manner. We are not adept to find the right words to express her glory. As I said, even with the Mahavidyas. You know, we can just, yes, I said that according to the propensity, if you are tamasic, you will sacrifice an animal and get your tamasic work done. You sacrifice, take a life, get some energy, and you manifest what you want. But there is more to that. You can just offer her sattvic bhog prasad, like I do. I'm a vegan. I do that. So yeah, you can manifest, and she is very, very kind to me. Very kind to me. So yes. Now, as I said, we cannot understand the glory, and Mata Sheetala and Mata Masani work very well in a pair, very well in a jodi. Alright, and they both can offer all the four Purusharthas, Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha. So keep that in mind. Now you've understood how Krishna gave Mata Madanan, Mata Masani, Mata Sheetala this blessing, that she became the Adhishthatri Devi of Chowks. Now you understand how Krishna is so very important in the journey of Ma Meldi Masani. Okay. Now 360 I told you. So many women who know about Mata Masani or have had some kind of connection, who have not really risen to great heights and then they die, they come in her fold. I told you they are allowed to join the 360. Or all right, and souls from the crossroads keep coming, the feminine souls, and she keeps guiding them, keeps giving them work and guiding them. And this 360 Masanis that work under her work very mysteriously, very mysteriously, how the 360 Masanis, Yakshanis they are, how they work under her. And one day we'll talk in great detail that how they work under her, how they from females they become yakshanis, and then some become apsaras, kinnaris, and how they become a part of Mata Masani's army. All right, now, and different people from different places also surrender to Mata Masani. All right, like I told you, she's none other than Isis, Ishtar, Hecate. So there's no difference actually. And once they have done the tasks that she sets out for them, they move on to different vibrations and continue her work. Okay, it's all her work, the mother spider spinning the webs, okay, creating multiverses. So keep that in mind. Now, and all these 360 Masanis are her servants or assistants. Okay, and many of them in Gujarat especially, they are known as jhapdis. We have Akhat Jhapdi Khata, which I have mentioned, and jhapdis are these feminine spirits, and they are deadly dangerous feminine spirits who walk in the khata of Mata Masani Meldi. I already explained to you how it is done, that when she was conquering all the dark forces in Kamrup Kamakya, she sucked out all the negativity and put it in a bottle, and she took all the magicians and turned them into one goat, and she rode on that goat. Very interesting. Now, so that's why, because of all these dark entities have surrendered and walk in her khata, the dark magician uses these entities like Akhad Chapri, like Chudhel, and they do black magic. It's not Mata Masani per se who is doing all this black magic. Like I told you, even if you do Masani Chowki, you have to first do Bhakti Bhaktai, and then you have to impress her, and then you have to get her Vachanbadh. And then she's not too happy about it, because she's the mother matrix. Why would she want to harm anybody? Right? If you have a sibling, ask your mother that who do you love more. Even if your mother loves somebody a bit more, she'll never be able to say it, because a mother loves all her children. So how can you think of harming somebody and expecting good grace from your mother? Think of that. These are things we've all got to think about. So all these Akachapri, all this these very dangerous and malicious entities that I have already discussed, like Sati Chudel, Sikotar, alright, very dangerous, Babadiyo Bhoot, the main Bhoot, okay, and Kalwes, of course, Pidani Memda. Pidani Memda is a dangerous entity, and she's the spirit of a pregnant woman, Pidani Memda. So when Pidani Memda Chowki is sent on someone from the Masani Meldi Khatas, the family remains childless. Their lineage dies. And not only that, they also kill children. They also kill fetuses. So it's a very scary thing, this Pirani Memda, very scary. Akhad Chapri again. Akhad Chapri, wherever Akhad Chapri Chowki has been sent, smells like poo. Poo everywhere, like defecation everywhere. So Kalwes are sent on people. You've seen in Hollywood movies those kids with full black eyes. They are Kalwas. Alright. Very scary entities. Chapri Chapro, they are very Bhaisasur. Bhaisasur is the deadliest entity from Kamru Kamakhya that was first awakened by Priya Bangalan, and very, very dangerous. Okay. Then we have, of course, Aradvi Bhoot. Many bhoots and prates walk in this, are a part of her entourage. And the dark magician seeks to activate their powers. Alright. Now, in Kali Yuga, Mata Masani is responsible for Ishta Siddhi. Many people ask me, who's my Ishta Devi, Ma? Can you tell us? Who's my Ishta Devi? Who's my Ishta Devi? I mean, honestly, who's my Ishta Devi or who's my Kul Devi? I don't know. So, best thing to do is that worship Ma Meldi and ask her to guide you to your Ishta Devi and to your Kul Devi. Because Kul Devi, Kul Devata, if they are rushed, nothing goes well in your life. So keep that in mind. And she is pretty much responsible for your Pitri Ashirvad also. So keep that in mind. She holds all solutions. And now Masani Jadoo, like I told you, it's black magic, summoning all these negative entities that walk in her khata. And if it has been done on someone, like I told you, that it really, yes, ultimately the women who died, if they come and do the work that they are meant to do, then they will find, they'll go on to another vibration. Remember, nothing is in vain, no pain is in vain. Every single death, every single teardrop is accounted for in the multiverses, in the variegated timelines. So don't for a second think that it is lost. Okay? If you are having, if somebody has done Masani Chowki on you, your life becomes like a smashan. Everything burns to cinders. Okay? Now what Masan Bimari can kill you. Okay? You will smell bad, you will have stomach pain, backache, falling down incessantly, injuries, disbelief, okay, apathy, incessant worse than migraine headaches, feet injury, okay, constant irritation, and like this penchant for conspiracies. Masani Kriya. Now, never do Masani Kriya on anyone by listening to a YouTube person who tells you how to kill your enemy with Masani Vidya, and you had a fight with someone at a bar. Don't do it, right? Or somebody owes you money. Do not ever do all these things, okay? And you have to follow Guru in Masani Vidya. You can't do it by yourself, okay? Now, basically, when somebody has had Masani Kriya done on them, they have to go to a Tantric. And then the Tantric sits in sadhana, what I also call Khappad Kriya. Okay, will sit in sadhana and will speak to Mata Masani, who will tell them what kind of bhoot, pret, jhapdi, chudhel is bothering them. Okay, what kind is very important to diagnose, and most times a tantric will not tell you what kind of entity is bothering you, because honestly there's nothing you can do about it. Knowing about it will only make you more stressed out. So no. And then act bhog prasad is offered to Mata Masani, who controls this chowki that has been sent to you. Okay, and the correct rituals are done to Mata Masani, which again you cannot do, only a bhagat can do. Very important. Now, as she holds Trishul, she can see through the past, present, and the future. Yes, very good. Past, present, and future. And like I told you, that this symbolizes a tripartite nature, like Tripura Sundari. And Mata Masani is associated with borders, city walls, doorways, crossroads, and by extension with realms beyond the world of the living. That's why she's chthonic. That's why she has an association to spirits and dead people. She's in a way a psychopomp, actually, if you ask me. So all those women who, when they die, are taken on and taken in as Masanis, are then ultimately guided to their right tasks so they can move on to the next realm, where she sets out more tasks for them. So this is something, and this association with the liminal is what makes her so very mysterious. There is no defining Mata Masani Meldi. There's no defining her, okay? Just know this much, that she's the guide of your transitional period in life. She's a transitional Devi, actually, okay? So she transitions and shifts things from old to new, unconscious to awareness, from familiar to the unknown. She very much represents all that is unknown, like Kali. All right, all that is unknown. She's associated to dying and rising again, right? Which is Mrit Sanjeevani Vidya. Okay, like somebody had said in my group on WhatsApp, that Meldi is nuclear, and Meldi is his Kul Devi, Girish. And he said Meldi is like nuclear power, which is very correct. And he says, Ata Masani Meldi can kill someone and can resurrect someone. Mrit Sanjeevani Vidya, okay, which we are speaking of right now, that her association to dying and rising, kind of like also Inanna Ishtar, right? How she resurrected and collected back all her important valuables that she had lost. And she can descend to any depth, again like Ishtar Inanna. Inanna, how she descended to the 7 hells to save Dumuzi, her husband. Now, think of where she can go to, Inanna, where Mata Meldi can go to. The Dasha Mahavidyas couldn't kill the Asura in the carcass of the cow, thereby Meldi was born. So imagine how far she can reach. Her reach is everywhere, in Patal and in Swarg. She can easily fluctuate between these realms. That's why she's a psychopomp. You know, she takes different souls to different dimensions. And you find this, as I said, that you can look up Inanna, Ishtar, Isis, Diana, Hecate. They are all echoes of Mata Joganan, Mata Madanan, Mata Masani. They are all her echoes. All right. And I already told you about Papa Legua from Haitian Hoodoo and his direct association to Babrio Bhoot or Bawda Bhoot. All right, the main commander of the ghosts, the prets, the smashanic entities. Okay, so you have to immediately understand that Masani Madanan mediates between the mortal and the divine spheres. A mediation she creates, right? And as she is liminal and her energy is chthonic, she is equally powerful in heaven and hell. Okay, so she's very dual, and she's nocturnal, so full of mysteries, like that goddess right there. In fact, you cannot do Masani Meldi sadhana without Ma Kali's picture there. Always understand that. So Saat Behens are gatekeepers of our chakras. Please understand that. She holds the key to the gateways to hidden realms of existence. And all this knowledge is held in her khatas. And it's no written book, it's a magical kata, magical, right? And she has untold secret knowledge to impart to the Bhagat. I mean, that's why I'm here, okay? Of course, I love her, but I love that, the lure of this secret ancient knowledge, right? And she brings light to dark places. She went into the carcass of the cow, dank, dead, decaying. And it definitely is, I can feel it, Rajat. So, yeah. So, thereby, there's this ability to take us to light from very dark places in our life. When we are at a very dark place in life, a lot of people are suicidal. A lot of people are so upset. They can barely get up. They are depressed. They definitely need to do Meldi sadhana. Definitely need to do. The knife in our hand symbolizes power, discernment, and the ability to cut. Again, connecting us to Kritika Nakshatra, cutters. And very interesting, Guru is going into Kritika Nakshatra, and this is gonna be such a boom time for us all. Her worship is best for people at crossroads. She helps you choose a direction, and we are all actually at crossroads pretty much most of the times in our lives, because change is the only permanent thing that we experience as humans. So change is inevitable. We have to keep looking forward, no looking back. When we do any Masani Prayog in the Smashan or in the Chowk, we are told that you cannot look back. Our Guru tells us that you cannot look back, you go forward. If you look back, that's it. You are caught in the same vicious cycle again. So when our body performs an actions, we are unconscious, our subconscious mind cements that action. So when you worship Meldi, there is literally no looking back. There's literally no call that you will answer to, but you will progress forward. Okay? So you have to understand that she gives you internal courage, so you don't look back, so you cut away what needs to be cut away. And if you really listen to your heart, Masani Meldi is a very powerful ally. Very powerful ally. Listen to her call. Listen to her call. Find a new way of finding your place in this world. That's what she wants to give you. Have no fear. Have no fear. Take off that mask. Take off that mask. Stop clinging to the old persona. You are at the very threshold of transformation. The thing is that will you claim this transformation? Alright? So I think that was an important dissertation on Mata Masani Meldi. Like I told you that she can do any work that no other Devi or Devatas will do or can do. Refer to her creation story. Now it all depends on how you will work with her. Okay? Can you get her to give you vachan? Can you make her vachanbadh? She allows you to rise very speedily if you're circumspect through the ladders of spiritual progress. You can climb very quickly. But remember that if you do her Satvik sadhana, you can impress your Kul Devi, Kul Devata, Pitris, Ishta Devata. If you don't have kids or if you're infertile, you can get kids. If you have erectile dysfunction, it'll work properly. Okay, you can cut black magic with her Satvik Upasana. Now tamasic people, some of the things that the Bhagats do when they offer tamasic bhog is, they do pitriyo ko bandhan, they tie your pitris. Alright. What makes you think I'm going to tell you, Alka, what your present feelings of Amita for you? Energy is not given in it's given for free, You give, you receive. What have you given me? How have you inspired me? that you felt the need to come and ask me what Amit thinks about you while I am giving a dissertation. It's actually quite mindless if you ask me. Maybe if you change the way you think, maybe Amit will like you more, have a bit more confidence and work on yourself. So, tamasic bhojans, how can that work? They often tie the pitris, so pitris cannot give you any blessings. Pitris cannot even receive your bhog prasad or tarpanam. Forget anything else. Alright, then they do womb binding when they offer bhog, tamasic bhog to Meldi and Masanis. They do womb binding. So a woman becomes infertile, like I think I mentioned before. Total destruction, let's add the total destruction of professional and personal life. And this whole male infertility, premature ejaculation, inability to be intimate, all of this tamasic bhog. If you're just simply starting out bhog, I suggest that you contact a bhagat. You can contact me if you like, but there are fees applicable to Masani sadhana. And I'll tell you what to give bhog in, what bhog to give, how often to give bhog, and what mantra to do. Shukla Paksha Sunday is amazing, like today. Alright. That's it basically for today's dissertation. We have gone into greater depth about Masani Meldi and about her energies and how to work with her, what to do, what not to do, Thank you. Alright, now I'm going to do a transmission for a few minutes before I head. Alright, so first my Guru Smaran. Thank you. Thank you. Alright. Blessings. 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 See you someday, sometime, till we meet again. Shubh Ratri.